It's Wednesday and we talk about weddings. Alright, it's hot. Break time, break time, break time. Maybe like I could finish this like later in the evening. Holy crap. Oh, crap. So today I wanted to chat a little bit about the big elephant in the room that no one really wants to admit or talk about or like acknowledge that it exists. So let's jump into how much it all costs. So let's start. So I have some notes here, and again, this is all from the Knot. So it's an average, it's Texas. Let's see. So the biggest and fattest expense is going to be $15,000 and $439. What the fuck? Woo! That's bad. 15 grand just for the reception and the venue. That hurts. That hurts my heart. That hurts my freaking heart. Okay, then from there we get to the ceremony site, which is $2,382. Okay, so then we get a little bit cheaper. We go into transportation, which is $856. Then we have the photographer, which is around $26.79, and then the videographer for around $20.21. Anytime I just see a comma, I get nervous. The commas, when they're not in my actual bank account, they make me fucking nervous. Then we have a wedding planner for $20.02. And then a officiant for $286. I like that price. I like the $286 real quick. It's so hot out here, even my phone is tilting. Y'all, I can't. It's hot. Break time. Break time. Finish this later. BRB. Another freaking break. So last Wednesday we tried to chat a little bit about weddings because that's what we freaking do on Wednesdays. But it was just so dang hot and I was just so dang sweaty, and I tried and I was just like, not doing it, not here for it. So today I wanted to recap on my last week's video and just the fact that I've been slacking a little bit, because slacking is what I do, right? But yeah, I'm happy, I'm excited to be here because on Wednesdays we talk about weddings, and this Wednesday is extra special because today we talk about how much it all actually costs. So let's jump into it. I think I last left off at talking a little bit about the officiant, or the officiant, around $286. Then we get into a little bit more kind of nitty-gritty details. The wedding dress here was around $1631. The groom's attire was closer to $283. Reception / DJ was around $1292. The reception band, which I desperately want, was $42.47. Hair and makeup around $225, and then the ceremony musicians, which I want as well, were around $797. So this little section was a little bit more kind of like for the nitty-gritty fun details of what's going to happen during the big day, which are still super important but extremely expensive. Then we pop into kind of a little bit more details within the details. You'll find food / rehearsal dinner is around $12.97. Then the wedding cake is $5.28. The catering is per person, and that's around $70. And that's a whole other game changer in itself, which we're gonna jump into because catering really fucked me up. I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. And then I heard catering was literally charged per person, which then we have flowers and decor around $24.11, invitations around $386, and favors around $245. And grand total, I did all of this together. This all came out to, without catering per person, around $38,762. So I did make some adjustments right off the bat, off of some things that I figured that we won't need or we won't use. And one of those adjustments is the ceremony and reception. So at the beginning, the reception and venue was around $15,439. And the ceremony was around $2382, which I'm hoping that wherever we pick our venue, because we still haven't picked that yet, it will be combined. Like, we'll be able to have the ceremony in one part of the venue, and then we go to the other part of the venue for the reception. The ceremony is kind of like where the religious kind of marriage actually happens, and the reception is more kind of like the dancey fun time. But I would like ideally them to be in the same place as opposed to us breaking them up and having to travel, because that also eliminates our transportation dollars. So the ceremony site hopefully would be eliminated, would be $2382, and the transportation right underneath that would also be eliminated would be $856. So that to me is huge and great, and I'll take any cuts I could. Another thing that could be cut off the back easy is the wedding planner. In our last bid, I was kind of really going through the pros and cons of should we hire a wedding planner or should we not, and I am not going to. Not yet so far. So that will also cut around $2,002. I don't know, my pros and cons video really helped me kind of think about it, and a lot of venues I've been looking at actually come with a day of or a person of or a month of type feel, and I think that would be so much more appreciated as opposed to having someone kind of through the whole entire process, because I am a control freak and I do want to kind of get my hands dirty with this whole wedding process. So I definitely feel like we can cut those out, and cutting out those 3 huge costs off the back was a total of $5240, so over $5,000, which is amazing and thankful and hallelujah. So we kind of made that adjustment. So I took that original $38,762 and I minus my adjustments of $5240, and that came out to $36,222, which is still quite chunky because this is, again, without catering. That's the biggest, that's like the biggest thing. Why is catering per person? Like, are we going to Chamagacha? Like, is this a fucking steakhouse where it's like $50 per head? I would honestly take that over charging what the knot is saying is around $70 per person. So let's do some more math. So we're inviting around, our guest list right now is around 200 people. It was at 250 ideally. We're trying to cut it to around 200. And again, catering is per person, and it's $70 per person. So that alone is 14 fucking grand. 14 fucking grand for one night. I mean, just kidding, for a wedding. Our wedding. So we took 36,222 and we added 14 grand to it, and that came out to our total of $50,222 per a wedding if we go strictly off numbers from the knot. And this is a wedding in Texas, 200 people, and that's scary as fuck. Like, I mean, I definitely feel like there are adjustments that need to be made, like the reception and venue, 15 grand alone on that, that's fucking nuts. But it kind of does make sense, because one of the most amazing, most beautiful venues in San Antonio is Hotel Emma, and that alone is starting at 10 grand. So I mean, it makes sense, even though I don't want it to make sense, but like, fuck, man. Another thing I might want to make some adjustments with is the photographer and videographer. They're both ranging around 2 grand, but the photographer is around 26. And I would honestly like to put more money into a videographer. I want the whole shebang. I want like drone footage. I would love it to be shot like The Office, and where people are being interviewed, and it's fun and it's interactive, and it's like just something I could put on the tube, and it's just a memory that I'll forever have. The photographer I think is super important, but I really, really want to emphasize my budget on a videographer over a photographer. But again, I want both there. But maybe that might flip my cost, maybe that might dwindle my cost. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of these like fluctuate and go up and go down, because it's like, the reception, band, the DJ, and the ceremony musicians are all things I really want. I just didn't realize the reception band is almost $5,000. Like, that's what? Again, you know, this is just like a rough draft of numbers that. So overall, what would you say our budget is? And truly, I said it was $5,000. Jerome laughed. He said it was $10,000. But now we've kind of come to mutually agree that it's going to be at least $20,000, 20,000 buckaroos, which sucks. Which it honestly sucks. It sucks. I feel like a lot of people go through this, but no one actually talks about it. And I just want to be transparent and just say it's a lot of fucking money. It's a lot of money for one night. Yes, it's my wedding night. It's our wedding night. It's our big day. But it's just $20,000, and they're averaging, according to the knot, is around $50,000, and it's just hard because we're debating on, do we want to buy a house? Do we want to get married? Do we want to elope? Do we want to save all of our money and just buy a whole bunch of Amazon? Like, it's just, I feel like this is such a hard decision that no one really talks about, or no one really acknowledges it being so big, because this is literally the rest of our lives. And it's scary, but I just wanted to share with y'all, you know, why I've been so kind of MIA, why I've been so inconsistent with the wedding planning, because it's expensive and it's hard not to think about in every little aspect of it. So till the next Wednesday, this was fun. Slowly getting to it. Maybe venue will be next. I'm excited either way. Happy Wednesday. Wednesdays we talk about weddings. Some Wednesdays, every other Wednesday, kind of. It's hot. It's Texas. Wedding planning is hard.